Hey guys, Future Heather here. The video you're about to see is a home video, so the quality isn't great, but I put it in for the memories.
Stay to the left of the target this time, Larry.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't stand there.
He hit the target! He hit the target! He's 1 for 5.
Hello, and what is up with everybody today? I hope you all are doing well, having a fabulous and blessed day. Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Heather Christine. If you didn't know, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It helps me out so much. Let me tell you a little secret. If you hit the like button, it's completely free. That's right, it's free. So hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and hit the notification bell so you never miss any upcoming videos. I just wanted to take just a moment to say thank you so much for the love on my last video and the people that subscribed. We are growing slowly, but still growth, and that's an awesome thing. And I'm so excited to have you guys on board with me. It means the entire world to me, every bit of support, and I just very much appreciate it. So I wanted to shout you guys out. As always, I'm going to be the plug real quick. I do host a podcast called The Uncensored Woman. I always link for Spotify and iTunes in the description box below. So go check that out, guys. I'd love to have you join the family. We have a lot of fun over there, as well as a lot of serious talk, and I put a lot of education into those videos, educate everybody else as well as myself. I research them. Did I say videos? Into the podcast. I mean, I may be biased, but I think it's a pretty good show, and I'd love to have you. If you don't have iTunes or Spotify, The Uncensored Woman is available on most podcasting platforms. So I got you, boo. Anyways, my Amazon affiliate link will be below too if you want to go support your girl, and the YouTube channel. I would appreciate that. Today is going to be a serious subject. It is going to be about losing a parent, specifically my dad, and how I've gotten through it. So, if I once again cry in this video, which I think I can talk about it now without crying, but if I do, don't beat me up over it, okay? That'll always be my dad, and I'll always miss him. Growing up, my dad was just my other half. He was my best friend. He was my hero. I was a daddy's girl. We kind of have the same personalities. I was always so proud for anyone to meet him, and you guys, he was just so loved. Even at his funeral, we packed it out the doors, okay? People were tailgating and everything at his funeral. He was very much loved. He had friends that were family. He was the life of the party. He had the most contagious laugh ever. He was just a super fun, positive person to be around. Everybody liked him, and he was my daddy. So of course, I was proud of him. My parents divorced when I was real little, so I had visitations with my dad, but I still see my dad, whenever I could. My dad was present at everything I did. And then when I got older, I had boyfriends or friends that could drive. I started to go see my dad more often. Before my dad died, I was actually seeing him probably about every weekend. I always wanted to be with him. We had a lot of good times together. And actually, as I've told you all, I had my first son really young. I had him when I was 18. But what I haven't said is prior to having Caden, which was after I graduated, I got pregnant in the middle of my senior year in high school. My dad was still alive, and I remember going to tell my dad, me and this guy, and My dad was not happy about it at first, like any parent would be. You know, he had something different in mind for me, and I had changed a lot at this point and got my grades up, so my parents were really super proud of me. And then I had to come out with the news, like, I'm pregnant in the middle of my senior year. But then he was like, you know what, we'll deal with it. And then he just started to get that attitude like, oh my God, I'm gonna be a grandpa. Like, I remember one time we were going through the KFC drive-thru and I wanted macaroni and cheese, and he was like, I need an extra large macaroni and cheese. My daughter is having a baby. I'm going to be a grandpa, so we got to give her what she needs. I mean, my dad wasn't afraid to talk to anyone, make small talk with anyone. He just loved life and loved everyone. And he just got to the point where he was proud and he was happy and he was excited. And I'm so glad that happened. At least he got a little taste of what it was like to be a grandpa before he passed away. Anyways, a few weeks later, I was over at his house. I started cramping. I'm just going to go ahead and let you know right now, it's about to be a little TMI, so if you want to stop, if you're lightheaded or medical terms freak you out or whatever. But I started cramping real bad and I started bleeding, and these weren't just normal cramps, they were severe. I told my dad. It just so happened that my mom and stepdad were out of town at this point. And so I ended up going to the hospital. My dad was the one that was there with me, along with the guy that I was with. They went ahead and did an ultrasound and everything and confirmed that I was in fact miscarrying and there was no heartbeat. And I remember holding my dad's hand. We just both cried. He was like, you know what? It's going to be okay, baby girl. Things happen for a reason. I know that this hurts, but I'm here for you. God just has another plan or something, and we're going to get through it. I think I know now why that happened. Even though it's always painful to have a miscarriage, I've had quite a few. One of the miscarriages I had was in my second trimester, so it was very devastating. It's something that I haven't forgotten any of my miscarriages, but this is something that I'll get into maybe in a different video, but I'll never be able to get it out of my head. But anyway, so things went back to normal. We adjusted. I got on birth control. It was my senior year, like I said. So in April, my senior prom was coming up. I was so excited. I was like, I'm a senior. It's prom time. So I went all out. I got a beautiful dress and I had it fitted to the gods, okay? My dad went and got the shoes with me. He was just so proud. He was telling everyone at his work, like, because he had worked there for 20 years or so, and he was telling everyone, my daughter she's graduating high school. She's such a good kid. I'm so proud of her. I can't wait to see what's in her future and blah, blah, blah. So prom day gets here and my dad had something come up with work. So I was like, that's okay. I'll come and see you tomorrow, because I live in Kentucky, but my dad lived in Indiana. And it really wasn't that big of a deal because I was in such a rush that day. It took forever to do my hair, or to get my hair done, to do my makeup. I got sprayed, all of that, like spray tanned. And, I had to get my dress. I had to meet my friends. We went out to eat before we went to the prom. So I was just like, it's fine. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll come over tomorrow. I'll never forget this conversation because it was very ironic and it haunts me to this day. But back in the day, before my dad got the job that he was at when he passed away, he used to be a person that embalmed bodies, okay? Nothing freaked my dad out or anything like that. So he was having this whole speech with me on the phone about having fun, but he was like, listen, if you drink or anyone with you drinks, don't drive. If you have to call me, I will come get you. But I have seen too many people that have died after a prom night. It only takes a second, baby. And I don't want to have to be at the morgue tomorrow identifying your body. And I was like, Dad, I wouldn't do that. Stop freaking out. You're not going to have to identify my body. Like, this is a fun time. Just stop freaking out. But anyways, I had to get him off the phone because I had to go. I told my dad that I loved him and I would see him I would see him the next morning. So I went to prom and I had a great night, but as you all know, like I said, I've had panic attacks my whole entire life. So I had a great time at prom. We ended up going to a hotel room after, having a good time, and then all of a sudden I was having chest pains, and I was like, I was going to stay out a little bit later than that, but at this point it was already 3 a.m, so I was like, I need to go home. Like, just take me home. Like, I can't catch my breath. I feel like I'm having a heart attack. I got home. I was already going to try to wake up kind of earlier the next day because I was going to see my dad, and I told my dad I'd be there around 12 or 1, but I was going to sleep in a little bit because I didn't end up going to sleep till around 5 a.m. Well, that didn't happen. For some reason, I woke up around like 9 or so. And I remember, I think my aunt called me, which my aunt is almost like my sister. She's my dad's little sister, but she's only 2 years older than me. You can imagine how close we grew up. And she called, and my dad's name was Larry, by the way. She called and she was like, girl, Larry called last night and he held, because my dad loved talking on the phone, and he loved talking, period. He was like, he held me and mom, my grandma, on the phone for so long. He talked about his whole life. He was laughing about childhood memories. Like, and I was like, I'm about to go see him. And, you know, we were laughing about all of it. And we were just making fun of him. That's just what he loved to do. He loved to be on the phone. He loved his family very much. And he was just a great person with a huge heart, a huge giving heart. So we were laughing, and I was like, hey, you know, let me call you back because I'm going to go ahead and try to eat breakfast, call my boyfriend, and get ready because I told Dad that I was going to come over. And she was like, okay. I don't think it was even an hour later she called me back. I pick up the phone and I can tell that she's crying. And she's like, Heather, you need to get to the hospital, this hospital. Larry has had a heart attack and I don't know how bad it is. And I mean, I didn't know any more Larrys. I was like, my dad, you know, I knew it was him, but I was just like, my dad had a heart attack. She was like, yes, and they said that we need to get to the hospital immediately. I was like, oh my God. Well, my mom was at church, and then my stepdad was home while I heard my house phone ring. Well, my dad was with one of his friends that day. So this guy's name was Terry, and he had called my stepdad. He was like, listen, don't tell the girls what is really going on, but this is what's really going on. So they need to get to the hospital ASAP. So anyways, I called my boyfriend and I was like, I need you to get over here and get me and my sister to the hospital. Like, my dad has had a heart attack. So he sped to my house. Mind you, my dad's at a hospital in Indiana. In the car, I just had this feeling. That something wasn't right. I had a feeling that something was bad, but I just kept trying to shake it off. I thought it was my nerves. So we pull into the hospital. We get out of the car, and I see my aunt run out the door with her hands covering her mouth and tears streaming down her face. And I was like, no, don't you tell me. Don't you dare tell me that anything is wrong with my dad. She was like, Heather, he's dead. I said, there's no way he's dead. I was supposed to go see him today. Like, I just talked to him on the phone. And I was like, I need to see him. It was confirmed that he was dead. He had a massive heart attack. Like, he basically died before he ever even hit the floor. Well, my mom had finally gotten her phone calls, and she was with my mama, her mom. Now, mind you, my mom and dad were still friends, even though they were divorced, and my mom's whole family still loved my dad. And so my mom and mama were trying to get to the hospital. So they got up to the hospital with everyone else. My mom is freaking out. Me and my mom and my sister go into the room with my dad. We're allowed to go in there alone to say our goodbyes. I'm going to try to get through this the best that I can, so please just bear with me. It's a lot different when you're breaking it down, I guess, because I didn't think I'd be so emotional. But hey, you know, it's not easy losing a parent. We go in the room, me and my mom and my sister by ourselves. They shut the door for us to say goodbye. I look at my daddy, and he's laying on the hospital bed. All his clothes are still on. His watch on his wrist, it's still ticking. He hasn't started to change colors. He's still pretty warm. He looked like he was sleeping. So in my head, I was like, no, he doesn't look dead, guys. Like, there's got to be something wrong. Like, they're just not right. My dad can't die. Like, he's going to be fine. Even though I was delusional. They told me he was dead. I just didn't want to believe it. Which everybody that was out in the hallway told me they heard this, and it broke them down too. But I just took a breath and I looked around, and then I looked back at my dad and I grabbed him and I started shaking him. And I was like, Daddy, no, please wake up. Daddy, please, it's Heather. Please wake up. Please, I can't live this life without you. Please wake up, Dad. Come back to me. I need you. Why would you do this? Please, I love you. Wake up. It's your daughter. I love you. Please don't do this to me. Of course, he was dead. He didn't wake up. They had to get me out of the room because I was just completely panicking. I was out of my mind. I went outside, punched the brick wall, bruised up all my knuckles and cuddled. I just knew it was never going to be the same after that day. Of course, after that, we have to plan the funeral. I'm the oldest daughter at this point in time, which is crazy. My dad died on April 30th. My 18th birthday was May 27th, and his birthday was May 29th. So he wasn't far away from his birthday or mine. And he passed away right before my birthday, right before his, and right before my senior graduation. So anyways, because I was a little bit older, I was of course helping plan his funeral. He was very responsible with his money, so he had money left over for me and my sister, and money from his job and stuff like that to cover his funeral expenses. So I wanted my dad to be decked out. We gave him the best of everything. Also, I wanted like a little mini concert in his funeral because he loved music. Now, if I could go back, there is one thing I would change, and I would play Freebird, because I didn't want to make anybody mad with the song. If I could go back, I would have, but I was young. I would have did it a little differently, but I still love the songs that we played. So we played One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men, Who You'd Be Today by Kenny Chesney, and then I picked out a song that had just came out at the time, and it was brand new, and I thought it was beautiful. Brad Paisley, When I Get Where I'm Going. Brad Paisley and Dolly Parton, When I Get Where I'm Going. I knew he would have loved it. I also somehow managed to get the strength to speak at his funeral. I told a funny story about him, and then I did his little dance at the end to honor him. And then the inevitable came when it was the last day of the funeral. That's the last time you were going to see your parent ever again, and you know that you're going to have to take them to the cemetery. And that just really hits you hard. I remember after going through the whole funeral and stuff thinking, how in the world am I going to go back to school? I stayed home for a couple weeks. And actually, I was working at Taco Bell at this time, and my coworkers were so kind. I remember they knew I was going through a hard time, so they all took money out of all of their paychecks, every single person there. They called me to come up there, and they gave me a few $100s to get me by through this hard time, and I just thought that was so amazing. Finally, I went back to school because I was like, I gotta do this for my dad. Well, I had, great friends surrounding me, and so when I got back, it actually did kind of help because, I got back to real life. But of course, I was still hurting really bad. So on graduation day, all my dad's friends showed up. My dad was always the person in the crowd that when everybody shut up, he would make it known that he was still there. He would scream for you, and they knew he was so proud of me, and they knew how close we were. When I walked that stage, they went crazy and they screamed and they were crying too. They came to my graduation party after and just told me how proud they were of me and how proud my dad was of me. And then the healing process had to start. Well, a month and a half later, I found out I was pregnant again because I had skipped a few birth control pills on accident, because this was during the time that I was grieving my dad so hard. I didn't mean to, but I did. And that's when I ended up pregnant with my son, Caden. Well, if you don't get chill bumps over this, I don't even know what to say. But first of all, getting pregnant with Caden, even at that young age, was the best thing that ever happened to me, because he got me and my family through such a hard time. Because when life was taken, life was given back. He helped us all look forward to something else. Well, Caden wasn't due until the end of February. However, I started having complications, and they had to induce me, and he had to come a little bit earlier. Get this, you guys, and then try and tell me God's not real. Caden James, because my dad's name was James Larry. Caden James, he got his middle name from my daddy, was born on January 30th, 2007. My dad passed away on April 30th, 2006. So April 30th, 2006, I lost my dad. January 30th, 2007, I had my son. If you do the math, that is exactly 9 months spread apart. So 9 months to the day of my dad dying, my son was born. So literally, God gave us life back in the amount of time it takes to grow life. God gave us life back through my son. And that saved me so much. I know this is becoming a long video, but if you have lost a parent and you're out there, I just wanted to tell you to hold on. I'm not going to say it gets easier, because I miss my dad all the freaking time. However, I get signs all the time that he's near me. I have dreams about him all the time, and I've learned how to cope. And that's what I tell people. It doesn't necessarily get easier. You just learn how to cope, and you learn how to adjust to your new normal. And I have faith and belief in God, so I know one day I'll be reunited with the most beautiful human being I've ever known in my entire life. With that being said, I guess that's gonna wrap this emotional video up. I'm so sorry that I got so emotional, but hey, you know, it's hard saying goodbye to a parent. I hope this helps anyone out there that's going through this. You will get through this. It does take time, but you will get through it. But you guys, as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and hit the notification bell so you never miss any upcoming videos. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, love, and happiness. Bye, guys.